Stop everything you're doing right now. Two people in your life are preparing to disappear by March 2025. Their departure has been written in the cosmic plan that guides your journey. This isn't just another random prediction, this is a personal insight that reveals which connections are about to end. Through mystical vision, their faces become clear. This isn't a general warning, this is your personal relationship forecast that explains changes you've already begun to notice but couldn't fully understand. The universe is revealing these departures now so you can prepare properly before they suddenly vanish from your everyday reality. The universe has protected this revelation until exactly this moment, when you're finally ready to know who will exit your life. Everything about your relationships has prepared you for these specific departures and the growth that will follow. This warning explains those strange feelings you've had around certain people lately. The unexplained tension that appears without cause. The growing distance that happens despite your efforts. The conversations that feel different somehow. These weren't random changes, they were early signs of the coming departures. These relationship endings were scheduled before you even met these two people. Their time in your life always had a specific purpose and duration. The universe never keeps connections active once they've served their purpose in your growth. This insight requires emotional preparation. The familiar comfort of these relationships, their predictable presence, and the roles they play in your daily life will transform as March 2025 approaches. The departure window won't extend beyond spring. Cosmic timing has aligned perfectly for these relationships to complete, creating a clear ending point. Earlier would have left lessons unfinished. Later would delay the new connections waiting to enter. Those who recognize these warnings feel subtle shifts already, a combination of sadness, anticipation, and deep knowing that whispers something is changing. Quick, press the like button right now to unlock the identities of these two people. The universe says this simple action opens your spiritual vision to see clearly who is preparing to exit your life. Spiritual guides gather around you now, waiting for this moment of revelation. They've watched these relationships develop, knowing they would reach completion by March 2025 when their purpose in your life journey is fulfilled. Type I want to know who if you're ready to discover which two people are preparing to disappear from your life, perhaps because their soul contract with you is completing. The moment you type these words, spiritual insight begins flowing into your awareness. This is the most important relationship revelation you'll receive this year. Your emotional preparation depends on this knowledge. But you must act now, this window of foresight stays open briefly. Departure signals began months ago. The warning signs have been appearing in these two relationships, subtle changes pointing toward their coming conclusion. Think about those moments when conversations suddenly felt different. The strange pauses that didn't used to happen. The slight pulling away when you reach out. The decreasing enthusiasm to make plans. These weren't random behaviors, they were early indicators of the coming separation. Type I see the signs as your awareness expands. These fading connections carry specific markers that have appeared with increasing frequency. Each coincidence of missed calls, cancelled plans, or emotional distance connects to their approaching departure. Through cosmic insight, patterns emerge clearly. Perhaps you've noticed these people mentioning future plans that somehow don't include you. Maybe they've begun forming connections with others who will replace your role in their lives. Possibly they've expressed new interests or directions that naturally lead away from your shared path. Your relationship passed through its strongest connection point already. The peak bonding period, the deepest understanding, the most meaningful exchanges have already occurred. What remains now is the natural completion cycle before the final separation in March. Cosmic understanding reveals deeper shifts. Those moments when you sensed something changing but couldn't name it. When you felt slightly unseen or unheard. When something familiar suddenly felt foreign. These weren't imagination, they were your intuition recognizing the approaching endings. Living wisdom flows through relationship transitions. Your connection to these two people is already beginning its completion phase, carrying out ancient soul agreements made before this lifetime. Revised sections with lower word count. The universe reveals critical timing now. March 2025 marks the precise moment for these relationships to complete their purpose. Earlier endings would leave important lessons unlearned. Later departures would delay your next growth phase. Your relationship timeline follows cosmic patterns. Pay attention to changes accelerating as February ends and March begins. Type I understand the timeline as cosmic wisdom explains your personal relationship schedule. Each connection follows divine timing, information that helps you trust this transition rather than fighting it. Through spiritual sight, relationship markers emerge. These connections have passed their peak influence period. Notice how communication patterns have shifted, though you may only see it clearly now. Living wisdom shows perfect relationship cycles. Some connections fade gradually. Others end suddenly. Divine insight reveals which pattern affects these two relationships. Beyond surface interactions, soul agreements include preset durations. You're experiencing the natural conclusion phase, though awareness allows better participation in this completion. The departure window opens when you've received everything these relationships were meant to provide, not before or after. Sacred truth emerges clearly. The first person preparing to exit is someone whose role has been to challenge your growth. Their presence pushed you beyond comfort zones into necessary evolution. Divine understanding reveals their key traits. They're likely someone whose perspective often differs from yours, creating productive friction. They may represent authority or expertise in an area you're developing. Type I recognize the first person as cosmic wisdom shows their role. They weren't randomly placed in your life. Their personality was perfectly selected to trigger important growth points in your journey. Through spiritual sight, their departure purpose becomes clear. You've gained what you needed, the lessons, growth, and perspective shifts. Their continued presence would only repeat patterns you've mastered. Living wisdom flows through recognition. As you acknowledge this relationship's completion, acceptance grows naturally. Perfect understanding shows this person's own journey. Their departure serves their evolution as much as yours. The timing benefits both souls equally. This person likely influences your daily activities, someone whose absence will create noticeable change but also open space for new growth. Cosmic vision penetrates relationship illusions now, revealing truths about the second departing person that transcend surface understanding. What emerges is a connection that served as comfort and stability while you navigated other life changes. Sacred understanding illuminates this person's qualities, someone whose presence provided consistency during turbulent times. Those unexplained feelings of growing distance weren't random changes. That sense they're already mentally moving on. The subtle shift in how they respond to you. All these experiences reflect the natural completion cycle activating. Type I. Identify the second person as divine wisdom reveals their full role in your journey. Beyond casual interaction, this person embodied specific qualities you needed during a particular life phase. This explains why their energy feels increasingly misaligned with your current path. Through mystical sight, your complete journey with this person becomes clear. Perhaps they're someone whose communication style once resonated perfectly but now feels limiting. Maybe they represent a phase of life you're naturally outgrowing. Possibly they've fulfilled their purpose as a guide or companion for a specific period. Living truth explains their gradual distancing. Some souls serve as temporary safe harbors rather than permanent ports. Their specific support helped you navigate important transitions, but continuing the connection beyond its natural conclusion would limit both your journeys. Perfect knowledge reveals why certain interactions now feel uncomfortable. The energetic resonance that once aligned your paths has naturally shifted as both souls continue their evolution. What connected you strongly before has completed its purpose. Divine wisdom reveals why these relationships must conclude by March 2025. These endings aren't random or tragic, they're purposeful completions serving everyone's highest evolution. Sacred insight shows karmic completion. Perhaps unfinished business from other lifetimes required this temporary connection. Maybe certain lessons could only be learned through this specific dynamic. Possibly energetic balancing needed this exact relationship duration. Type I. Understand the purpose as cosmic understanding reveals perfect divine order. Some relationships are designed for lifelong connection. Others serve specific growth phases. These two connections always belonged to the temporary category, despite human attachment suggesting otherwise. Through spiritual perception, soul agreements become visible. Prior to this lifetime, conscious agreements established exactly what each soul would provide the other. The completion date was included in these original soul contracts, ensuring neither party remains entangled beyond the intended duration. Living wisdom explains natural relationship cycles. Beginning phases serve excitement and discovery. Middle periods develop depth and meaning. Completion phases allow integration and release. These two connections have reached their natural conclusion point. Perfect understanding illuminates future benefits. Relationship completions create essential space for your next evolutionary phase. New connections awaiting you cannot enter while outdated bonds occupy their energetic space. Beyond human emotion, spiritual evolution requires constant release and renewal. Attachments to completed connections delay progress for all souls involved. Divine timing ensures these particular departures occur precisely when everyone has received their intended growth benefits. Cosmic insight reveals that the most evolved response embraces these endings with gratitude rather than resistance. Each served exactly as designed in your soul's perfect plan. Sacred insight reveals how to make the most of the remaining time with these two people. This guidance helps you complete these relationships with awareness rather than confusion. Divine understanding shows the importance of present moment appreciation. Acknowledge what these connections provided without clinging to their continuation. Express genuine gratitude for specific ways they contributed to your growth and experience. Type I will complete with grace as cosmic wisdom reveals communication approaches. Authentic conversation creates clean endings, though explicitly mentioning your spiritual insights may not serve the highest good. Trust your intuition about how much to share verbally. Through mystical perception, closure opportunities appear. Certain unspoken appreciations benefit from expression. Some shared experiences deserve final acknowledgement. Particular gifts or lessons might warrant specific thanks. These actions create energetic completion. Living knowledge explains the power of silent completion. Not all relationship endings require dramatic conversations. Many naturally complete through gradual energy shifts, with both parties intuitively understanding the changing connection. Perfect understanding illuminates what to avoid. Desperate attempts to maintain these relationships beyond their natural conclusion create unnecessary suffering. Emotional manipulation to prevent the inevitable only delays the growth available through graceful release. Beyond verbal exchanges, energetic completion matters most. Consciously releasing attachment to how these relationships should continue creates space for natural evolution. Blessing these connections and releasing expectation allows highest good for all involved. Divine insight reveals that the most important preparation involves your internal relationship with change itself. Embracing these natural endings as perfect rather than problematic transforms your experience completely. Cosmic vision reveals the feelings you'll experience as these departures approach. Understanding this emotional landscape helps you navigate it with greater ease and wisdom. Sacred insight shows natural emotional phases. Perhaps initial sadness or sense of rejection when you first notice the pulling away. Maybe bargaining as you try to restore the former closeness. Possibly anger at the changing dynamics before finally reaching acceptance. Type I honor my feelings as divine wisdom reveals emotional processing tools. Allow each feeling to arise without judgment. Recognize these emotions as natural human responses to relationship shifts. Trust the perfect unfolding of your emotional clearing process. Through spiritual sight, growth opportunities emerge. Each difficult feeling contains transformation potential. Sadness reveals what you truly valued. Anger shows where expectations existed. Fear highlights beliefs about connection and security. These awarenesses create profound self-knowledge. Living wisdom explains the beauty of emotional completion. Fully experiencing each feeling without resistance allows natural completion. Divine timing ensures sufficient processing time before the final physical departures in March 2025. Perfect understanding illuminates emotional patterns. Previous relationship endings created similar feeling sequences. Recognizing these patterns helps you move through them more consciously this time, accelerating your emotional maturation. Beyond immediate reactions, deeper healing activates. These particular endings might trigger old wounds from previous losses. Divine grace ensures these activations serve complete healing rather than unnecessary suffering. Cosmic insight reveals that emotions flow most easily when allowed rather than resisted. The natural river of your feelings carries you perfectly through this transition when you stop building dams against its movement. Divine insight reveals new connections preparing to enter after these departures complete. This preview helps you recognize these important new relationships when they appear. Sacred wisdom shows perfect replacement timing. Often within 3 months of significant departures, key new connections begin forming. These aren't random replacements but precisely aligned souls carrying exactly what your next growth phase requires. Type I welcome new connections as cosmic understanding reveals recognition signs. Unexpected meetings that feel strangely familiar. Immediate resonance with certain new people. Conversations that flow effortlessly from the start. These markers identify your divinely timed new relationships. Through spiritual perception, their qualities emerge. These incoming connections bring fresher energy, more aligned perspectives, and greater support for who you're becoming rather than who you've been. Their vibrational signature matches your evolving frequency. Living wisdom explains natural relationship upgrades. Each significant departure creates energetic space that the universe quickly fills with higher quality connections. Your expanding consciousness naturally attracts more evolved relationship experiences. Perfect understanding illuminates the improvement patterns. The new work colleague bringing unexpected opportunities. The friend introducing fresh perspectives that expand your thinking. The mentor appearing precisely when needed. These upgrades follow natural cosmic law. Beyond individual connections, your entire social fabric evolves. As your vibrational frequency shifts through releasing completed relationships, your entire relationship ecosystem naturally upgrades to reflect your expanding consciousness. Divine revelation shows how to recognize these new connections. Remain open rather than closed after March's departures. Trust unfamiliar social pathways rather than clinging to old patterns. Follow intuitive pulls toward new environments where these significant new people await. Cosmic vision penetrates future possibilities, revealing who you become after these relationships complete. This understanding helps you embrace rather than fear the approaching changes. Sacred understanding illuminates identity evolution. Those parts of yourself adapted to accommodate these two relationships can transform into more authentic expression. The compromises made to maintain harmony become unnecessary. The aspects hidden to keep peace can emerge fully. Type I embrace my evolution as divine wisdom reveals personality shifts. Greater confidence in expressing your truth. Increased comfort setting boundaries. Enhanced clarity about your own needs and values. These natural expansions follow relationship completions. Through mystical sight, your authentic self emerges more clearly. Perhaps you'll speak more directly after years of careful communication. Maybe you'll pursue interests previously set aside to maintain these connections. Possibly you'll express aspects of yourself these relationships couldn't accommodate. Living truth explains freedom benefits. Energy previously invested in managing challenging dynamics becomes available for creative expression, personal growth, and new experiences. Mental space occupied with relationship concerns clears for inspiration and insight. Perfect knowledge reveals unexpected gifts appearing after March. Opportunities previously blocked by these relationship dynamics suddenly become accessible. Paths that seemed closed mysteriously open as these particular energetic limitations lift. Beyond personality shifts, spiritual expansion accelerates. Your intuitive abilities strengthened without the dampening effect of misaligned connections. Your manifestation power increases as energy formerly tied up in maintaining these bonds releases for conscious creation. Divine insight reveals that while human nature often fears relationship endings, your soul celebrates these perfectly timed completions. Every departure serves as graduation rather than failure in the cosmic perspective. Cosmic revelation reaches its peak now. The most profound truth about these departures emerges with crystal clarity. Sacred understanding shows these endings as beginnings disguised as losses. Within 6 months of these March departures, you'll recognize the perfect divine orchestration that created space for profound new growth. Type I trust the process as divine wisdom reveals the ultimate purpose behind these relationship completions. Your soul's evolution follows perfect timing. These specific departures unlock your next expansion phase exactly when you're ready to receive it. Through spiritual sight, perfect divine design appears. These relationships served exactly as intended, providing precise lessons, growth, and experiences your soul contracted to receive. Their departure timing serves everyone's highest good with equal perfection. Living wisdom culminates in profound simplicity. Release with gratitude creates the smoothest transition. Resistance only extends discomfort without changing inevitable outcomes. Perfect insight reveals continued soul connection. Though physical interaction ends, the essence of what these relationships contributed remains eternally integrated into your being. Ultimate understanding occurs now. All revealed wisdom integrates into your awareness, permanently altering your relationship to change itself. Divine grace infuses your emotional body. Accept the perfect completion of these connections by March 2025. Trust the exquisite cosmic choreography guiding every entrance and exit in your life.